you could join me. Yeah, I've heard you. I've heard you. People are saying, yeah, you need to do more boxing videos. Where you're going to get a load of boxing videos. So let's get started. Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr., or as advertised, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. You know me, I'm just going to tell you how I see it. I'm never going to sort of like tell you what you want to hear, rather what you need to hear or what you need to know. So okay. When this fight was announced, it was almost like a fantasy this fight was going to happen. It was pushed because of Nigel and Chris, the seniors. They fought in two epic fights. I was lucky enough to watch both fights. And they were great fights. In fact, Nigel Benn, when Eubank beat him the first time in 1990 at Birmingham, NEC. Yeah, I remember Ben coming out. That was the second time Nigel Benn made me cry. Nigel Benn first made me cry when he got knocked out by Michael Watson by a jab. And that was my first bet I put down. And Watson was cute, he was smart, he was behind a jab, tucked up tight. Ben was just wild, no boxing IQ, just came out swinging bombs. And Watson wound him up like a treat. And yeah, Watson just kept his hands up. Ben would get through the odd shot here and there, but Watson would just stay tight. Let Ben throw his shots. And now just knocked Ben out with a jab because he was so exhausted. Yeah. Remember that fight well. Then he went and rebuilt his career. Went to America. Guys fights like Sanderline Williams. Won the world title against Doug DeWitt. Had to get off the canvas in America to beat Doug DeWitt. Knocked out Iron the Blade Barkley. A guy that had beaten Thomas Hearns twice. But it's like Duran had his number. And then Ben stopped him in a round, which was pretty impressive. And then came the Eubank fight. Eubank and Ben have been talking. Well, mainly Eubank was saying he wants. Eubank was saying he wanted Ben. So all this stuff about Ben hating Eubank. Eubank had his fair share. He said he basically called Ben and said like, "You're mine." You know. He called him out. He called him out after fighting certain fighters. Remember Kid Milo. I think he fought Milo. That's when the first time I saw Eubank get hurt. I think Eubank got hurt to the body. Again, the guy Kid Milo maybe. I could be wrong, but anyway, brutal fight. Ben loses. The rematch comes round. Don King and Frank Warren promoted that fight, and fight ended up being a draw. Anyway, let's get to these two boys, Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. Now, say what you want about Chris Eubank Jr. He fought and has won the IBO title twice. If you want to discredit the IBO championship, that's fine. But as far as I'm concerned, IBO is one of the belts that make Undisputed. So, yeah, I still rank the IBO like I rated the WBO. It's like that. When Eubank was world champion, he had a WBO belt. I rated the WBO belt back then. I stand by it with the IBO belt. What I don't stand by is this WBA super belt. The WBA regular belt in the heavyweight division is what Muhammad Ali fought for. That belt I recognize. Super belt that was created for Joshua and Klitschko to fight with. I don't recognize that belt at all. So, although it's a super belt and that belt has got credibility over time because of the people who fought with it, it's the original WBA belt that everyone trashes, that Hay fought for, the one that's currently held by Pulev, the one held by Povetkin had it as well. The WBA regular belt, that's the belt that I recognize, even though it's the super belt that Usyk's got, and I get it. The WBA regular belt, that belt has got legacy behind it. You can track back where that belt's come from time. But anyway, another debate for another day. Eubank Jr. has fought the much better opposition. He's been around a lot longer. The first thing that perplexes me is this discussion about Eubank Jr. and his weight. Okay, he's fighting. He's 160 pounds. He's got a weigh in the day before, and then he's got a weigh in 170 fight. Okay, why doesn't he just hire a professional dietitian? You learn from your mistakes. The last time, did you have a professional dietitian the first time round when you were cutting weight? I certainly know your old man, Eubank Senior, used to talk about how he used to starve himself to make weight. And at this day, in this age, right, when you've got professional dietitians, I'm sure you can have a professional dietitian that can get you on weight, professionally without you having to starve yourself for 2 or 3 days, as Eubank he did before he'd weigh in for big fights. And I think that was when he was at super middleweight even, I think. I remember him going to South Africa and fighting. I think he fought when he did that world tour. I remember it came out that he was starving himself, and that's ridiculous. So, yeah, that's something that I want to kind of bring to the attention of other people. That why don't you just get yourself a professional dietitian? You're a professional boxer. You're a prize fighter. You're getting paid millions to fight. Why the hell can't you get a dietitian in to look after your weight? Oh, he's got to cut weight. Well, every boxer apart from a heavyweight's got to cut weight. But even a heavyweight's got to cut weight. Do you understand? As they end up coming in the ring like a slob and end up getting found out, i.e. your old Big Baby Miller. So, you need to be in weight. You need to be in shape. If Jarrell Miller got himself into proper shape for that Dubois fight, he probably would have beaten Dubois. He definitely wouldn't have got stopped. And he only got stopped late on because of sheer exhaustion. And if he'd been shifted more weight and he was in more shape, hey. But anyway, that's another discussion again for another day. So Eubank Jr. for me is his weight is the issue. The second thing about Chris Eubank Jr. is the various trainers he's had over the years. The Roy Jones Jr., I thought it would have worked with Chris, but probably now looking back, it's probably the worst thing that could happen with Chris, because Chris is a volume puncher. Not only is a volume puncher, the thing that happened is that two things happened. The Roy Jones Jr. style, him dropping his hands and reduce himself from being a volume puncher. The volume puncher is the thing that made Eubank, made him good, made him recognisable. The amount of punches he would throw, overwhelm you shots. That's what Eubank used to do. You've got this Roy Jones style where his hands are down by his side and he's just chin up in the air. And Roy can do things because that was Roy Jones. Sometimes because you're a great fighter does not technically make you a great trainer, and the fundamentals are missing. Roy's fundamentals, right, were bad, but they were terrible, his fundamentals. But because he was a good fighter, a great fighter, he was great. He'd get away with stuff that the average fighter would get knocked out with. Yeah? So, Eubank going to Roy Jones probably it's like, you're training with your idol. I'm training with Roy Jones. I want to be like Roy Jones. You watch Roy on TV, you're like, wow. And it was all like a fanboy moment in time. But this is boxing. And you can have you can meet a fanboy footballer. It's not your brain's being punched out. Do you understand? And I think Eubank wanted that opportunity to train with Roy, which I could kind of understood. But at the end of the day, I think it took something out of Chris, or left Chris in a deficit, on top of the fact that he was losing that weight to go and fight Liam Smith. So not only is your fundamentals being mixed around with, I'm not having a great amateur career anyway, then you've got your style being hybrid mixed, and then you're going into a fight with a technically really sound boxer. And then you saw what happened. You didn't make the weight properly for the Conor Benn fight. You're going to fight Liam Smith. I don't know who his advisor was. I don't know who his dietitian was. He looked dreadful. He went into Liam Smith and paid for it. I think his body may have recovered from all of that now. But the things Eubank does do well, if you just wanted a reminder, is the left jab, the right hand, and the right uppercut. Or left uppercut. He throws good jab, throws a good right hand, and goes up the middle very nicely. All the punches that are a problem for Conor Benn. So I'll leave that there at the moment. Let me go the other side, the other corner. Conor Benn, unbeaten, Nobody knows how good he is. British, Commonwealth, European, Southern area, English title. None of those belts. Now, be it his own man, Nigel, never fought for the British title. He was Commonwealth champion. He got beat with his Commonwealth title fight, and that was defending against Michael Watson, I believe. And then after he lost the Commonwealth title fight to Watson, he went over to America, and then the next major title he fought for was for the WBO middleweight championship of the world. So, whereas Ben had a little bit more time and he boxed in the army. He was a hard man, they say, Ben, in the army. And he went for the professional ranks, took time. Ben had fought, okay, I remember the first time I saw Nigel Benn fight was a guy he fought against Umwayu, but his friends used to call him Bob. That was what the commentator said. And I think the commentator was Steve Holdsworth, good old Steve Holdsworth, Eurosport, but I don't think it was Eurosport commentating. And Ben would fight on midweek sports special with Nick Owens, right? And Nick Owen would also have, that was also where he had the special contract signed with Ben and Eubank, Ambrose Mendy and Chris Eubank and Nigel Benn. You know, that whole situation with a contract signing live. Midweek sports special. And midweek sports special will also bring you, you get to see Fights America. That's where I got to find out Michael Nunn. That's why I fell in love with Michael Nunn. He knocked out Sambu Columbine in the first round. And watching George Foreman knock out Rodriguez, a guy that Holyfield sparked out in 2 rounds. Foreman doing a similar job to Rodriguez. Guys like welterweights like Simon Brown, Iran Barkley, Thomas Hearns. You watch all these guys on the come up. I didn't see much of Ray Leonard, to be fair. I saw Hagler. I saw a lot of Duran. Mainly the end, kind of coming mid to end of Duran's career when he moved up in the higher weights. He was a midweek sports special. So anyway, just going off topic. And for those who are older would kind of get what I'm talking about here. But anyway, so come back to Conor Benn. Oh, I don't know what I was saying. But anyway, come back to Conor Benn. Amateur pedigree is unknown. What he is as a fighter in terms of pedigree is unknown. One thing we do know, or I don't know who blatantly came out and said it the other day. Somebody said it the other day. They were interviewing him and they said he was clearly on PEDs. Because when he was at before it was welterweight, he was knocking guys out and he's looking awesome. He moved up to a light middleweight, and since that whole PED thing happened, he's looked pretty ordinary at light middleweight. His punching power isn't the same at light middleweight. Dobson, who he fought, said that he has a low boxing IQ. He's got speed. His power was a bit overrated. He said his boxing IQ is pretty low, meaning that he probably doesn't know how to maneuver himself around the ring because of his boxing experience, you know. And this is a guy who he fought before, and I tried to get an interview with Dobson. I was able to get a hold of him, but yeah, I wanted to get an interview with him. But Dobson gave us an insight as to, and the interview's out there and seconds out. The interview's out there, and him talking about Dobson talking about Conor Benn. Now, the things I said before about Conor Benn, I stick to wholeheartedly. Listen, people talk about Ben knocking Eubank out. Me, I kind of see that kind of like fantasy. I mean, it's not a fantasy, meaning like if Ben hits Eubank on the chin, I mean, he couldn't shift the guy that was at light middleweight. Now, the lie is that Ben's jumping up 2 weight divisions. No, he's not. That's rubbish. He's not jumping up 2 weight divisions. His last 2 fights were at light middleweight, so he's jumping up 1 weight division. He's not coming directly from welterweight and going straight into a middleweight fight. He's coming from welterweight. He's coming from light middleweight, and he's had time to work himself body-wise to get to middleweight. So that's absolute rubbish. That's one of the biggest cons going so far. He's jumping 2 weight divisions. So the 2 guys he fought in America, They weren't in the welterweight division. They were light middleweights or super welterweights. So I don't know where they're going with this thing. Is Conor's moving up 2 weight divisions? Absolute rubbish, lie. Next thing, so Conor could knock out Dobson and he could knock out the other dude as well. So now he's going to move up to middleweight and knock Eubank out. A lot of people want to see Eubank knocked out because he speaks his mind and he speaks the truth. And a lot of people don't like people that speak the truth, right? And he's articulate with it as well. If you watch Conor Benn fight, you see this is not a video game, right? And boxing fans, sadly, they look at a fighter they like and then they add things onto what a fighter cannot do. So a fighter can't block a jab because they like the fighter. Yeah, he can block a jab. He can slip inside, slip outside. You know, he's a massive puncher. When he's not actually a massive puncher, he's a decent puncher. But they think they're playing like, I don't know, Undisputed, where you can start topping up the punching power. Well, you can do it if you're on PDs. You can top it up a bit. But in reality of things, Ben's last 2 fights shows you his ceiling, where he is. And he doesn't get much higher than that. Oh, yeah, he can improve. Of course he can improve. But there's some things that Ben fundamentally, so far, has got a problem. He can't seem to block a jab. He's a sucker for a right hand. And he's open to the uppercut. Never mind left and right hooks. Eubank's jab and right hand. If you look at the last fight Eubank had, we threw the left jab, right hand, and dropped the guy in the first round. That left jab, right hand, that hits Ben on the chin early. Nobody knows even if Ben can take a punch at that weight division. So it's very much the unknown. And based on what we've seen of Ben already, getting dropped by that Paynu guy, right? And then seeing how he fought against Dobson and him getting stunned a few times by Dobson, you're getting a guy that's the next weight division up who's going to be punching Ben on the night. So this thing about Ben gonna knock Eubank out, if I'm Chris Eubank Jr., I go straight at Ben on the first round. I go straight at him and I double the jab up and I push Ben to the ropes because Ben's got no defense. He blocks jabs with his elbow, right? If Eubank allows Ben to get momentum and go forward at him and throw big bombs at him, then he, of course, he'll get knocked out. But it's a guy who's experienced as Eubank should not allow Ben to even come up in weight like that and do that. What he needs to do, take centre ring, double the jab, push Ben back. Ben can't fight off the back foot. Ben is null and void on the back foot. He's terrible off the back foot. He can't box off the back foot. And he's got no defence off the back foot. So Ben is only effective when he's full coming forward and he's an on-top fighter. Ben cannot fight backing up. You can just watch the fights. Watch what happens when people hit Ben with a jab or double jab, or watch Ben when he fights, when he throws his jab. He throws his jab, he leaves his right hand down by the side. I've said this before. He makes these errors. He's throwing the jab, the right hand's down by the side, so he can get clip with shots himself coming in. So when Ben decides to come forward aggressively on the attack, he leaves himself very open to getting hit with big shots, and you're going in against a much bigger guy. So unless you're gonna have to take something. You're not just gonna walk in and knock Eubank out. It's not happening. And don't compare Ben with Liam Smith. Liam Smith has got boxing fundamentals. He can box, he can fight, he can slip shots, he can time, he can counter. You can't compare the boxing ability and the experience of Liam Smith and a former world champion Liam Smith. Let's not forget. And for a far much higher weight, better caliber of fighters, Canelo, Jaime Munguia, he's fought better quality at a higher level, Liam Smith. So don't compare Liam Smith and what he did to Eubank to what the ability of Conor Benn. Conor Benn has a lot to prove. He's an unknown quantity, and he could get knocked out very early in this fight because he's got no defense. And if you back him up, he's going to have no answers. And if I'm Eubank, first round, I come out there, I double jab and put the right hand. Ben is, once you hit him with a jab, he's got no defense to that. He's got no defense. When the head goes back, he's drilling with the right hand. Basic fundamentals Ben does not have. Ben is wild. And just like his old man, that wildness can only get you so far. That hype, that aggression can only get you so far. His dad had to learn that you throw all these punches and then you just get, and Ben would just get away with throwing big haymakers and knocking guys over. But when somebody can take the power and push you back and start to put a jab in your face and start to hit you and hurt you, and you can't hurt them, it becomes a problem. And Ben, even when he fought Dobson and that other guy, I can't remember what the guy's name is, he didn't look great when his punching power, he was connecting with big shots, but the guy kept walking forward. Guys kept walking forward against him. And if that's what those guys are doing, what is a natural middleweight stroke super middleweight? I mean, they're trying to bring him to say, okay, 170 pounds. But for me, if Eubank does the job properly, this fight should go no more than 5 rounds. It shouldn't. Weight shouldn't even become an issue, because the fight shouldn't go that long. Ben should not be around in round 10 and round 11. He shouldn't. He shouldn't. And Ben has never fought in this kind of an environment, this kind of event. Ben has never fought anything like that. This is a whole new experience for Conor Benn. People talk like Conor Benn's an experienced fighter, he's this and that. Not in this sort of situation. Not where it's a family matter and it's pride. You know, no. This is a huge step up for somebody who's not for English title, not for Southern area, not for British, not for European, not even for world title, anywhere near that level. How has he suddenly become this top guy? Who has he beaten that's made people think, yeah, he's going to go out and knock Eubank out? You can hope. But if Eubank gets it together, keeps his hands up, uses the jab, you stop Ben in his tracks. And then from that, the jab will open him up with the jab, and then a right hand down the pipe, or the uppercut is, Ben can't block an uppercut, he can't block a jab, he can't block a right hand. I'm telling you, and when you push him backwards, what are we going to do? The only way I think that Ben can win this fight is if Eubank drops his hands and leaves his chin out to dry. Or he's so weak at the weight, then that's it. Or Ben's on the PEDs. That's the only way I see Conor Benn winning this fight. I'm sorry. Or Eubank has aged. And even if he's aged, the fundamentals will still be there. Jab, right hand, uppercut. Walk your man back. You're the bigger guy. Walk him back. So I'm sorry. The way this sounds very biased, it's not biased. I just see one-way traffic. Because Ben has not shown me in the fights that he's had, like he's able to deal with those things from a bigger guy with punching power who intends to hurt him. I don't see it. Doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So that's my thoughts on that. Yeah, it's not something I see happening. I don't. But yeah, please do leave your comments in the comment section, and the more comments and the more feedback, the more videos I put out. I've got a few days now, so I'm going to try and get some interviews done as well to boost the channel and to get you boxing guys going and enjoying some stuff over my break. I haven't had a chance. I've been so busy doing cricket coaching, I haven't had a chance to get into these boxing videos, but I will do now. And please do, in the comment sections, please let me know what videos you'd like me to talk about. So that's my prediction. I think Ben gets stopped inside 6, simply because he's just not that good. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you've got to say. This has been BWTM Sports Gaming. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. Make sure you smash that like button now so that I can get these videos up in the algorithm. Take care.